Hello and welcome back to my RC channel. I'm AndyRC and today I'm going to be checking out the Fullspeed Grasshopper 94. Now it's no secret that Fullspeed makes some of my favourite plug-and-fly micro quadcopters, and I think my favourite is probably the Leader 120. So the Grasshopper 94, although I don't like the name, has pretty much identical specifications to the Leader 120, except that it is on a 94mm frame and is using the 5-blade 1.9-inch propellers over the 2.8-inch propellers on the 120. So if the 120 is the best, why might you be interested in the Grasshopper 94? Well, the Leader 120 is a fantastic model, but you can't really fly it indoors. It's a little bit bigger than you would like to fly indoors, and there's no prop protectors for it. The Grasshopper 94, it comes with prop protectors. So I see a lot of people asking for an all-around micro quad that can be flown indoors and outdoors, and maybe this is it, because we have got these prop protectors here, and they're a nice blue colour. I always love the colour scheme that the Fullspeed team pick. Blue prop protectors here, and you're given longer screws because they're going to screw into the motor, so you are going to have to unscrew this. They're not an easy addition by any means. We've got this bottom plate here as well, but yeah, you have this option which you currently don't have with the Leader 120, and seeing as we have got 5-blade propellers here, that should hopefully make up for the loss in propeller size, and we still should get a pretty decent punch out with it. But other than that, we have got the 1104 7500 kV motors, and they are the Fullspeed motors that are on the Leader. We have the BL Halley S D-Shot 600 enabled ESCs, which are 10 amp with a 15 amp burst. Again, I spoke to Lewis at Fullspeed, and they recommend not to use a 3-cell battery with this because something will wear out eventually. Instead, they provide you with a battery. It's the same battery that comes with the Leader 120. Of course, I added a XT30 on here, but it's not actually needed, and I'll talk about that in a bit. So yeah, 500 milliamp 50C 2-cell battery using a JST connector here. And then we have got the Fullspeed buzzer and LED, which is connected to the DIN, and it's set up to flash. Then we've got an Omnibus F3 flight controller with a built-in on-screen display, flash with Betaflight 3.15. Then we've got a 25 milliwatt 48 channel all-in-one VTX. It's using a sleeve dipole. You can adjust the angle. It's on a little screw here, which is quite nice. We've got the 2 buttons there. The front one switches between NTSC and PAL and also reverses the image if you need to do that as well. Back one, a long press takes you through the different bands, and then a short press through the different channels. However, you can't see any lights or anything like that. It's just on this little plastic mount here, so you'd have to sort of guess what channel you're on. No instructions with this, and of course it's a plug and fly like all of the Fullspeed models, so you have to install a receiver. I've got this little telemetry receiver here, and we have got the connections which you do have to solder in. So we have got the signal, the 5 volt and the ground, and then in front of that is the same but for 3 volt if you want to use a Spectrum. It weighs 67 grams without a battery and 92 grams with the battery, so lighter than the Leader 120 as well. And then we have got these bands here as well. You're given some spare bands to fit the battery in there. So other stuff that you get, I already mentioned the prop protectors. You get a spare set of blades. You get given the screws, which you do have to screw in, so it doesn't come with the propellers on out of the box. We've got some spare rubber bands because these ping off quite easily, and we have got a sticky back pad here if you want to use that on the battery, and we've also got a cap as well here for the camera, which I always lose. So I want to talk about flips of death, because I had flips of death with this model, and The cause of the flip of death was having the digital idle speed too low. And what happens is when you do a flip, sometimes when the motor forces itself to slow down, it can stop one of the motors because the idle's too low, it's gone too far, and it flips for a little bit. This one, I increased the digital idle speed to 10%. This one, 10% wasn't enough. I boosted it up to 13% and no more flips of death using the connector here. So it's definitely a problem with the motor stopping on this model for me. Other things that I changed in Betaflight, it was set up to have motor stop on, so I turned that off. I also turned on the serial RX for UART 3, so that's for my receiver there, and changed it to S-Bus. It was set up for PPM. I left the craft name the same there, and I've altered the PIDs. That's something else that I have done. The failsafe stuff was set up fine, but there weren't any modes set up whatsoever, so I went in and put my arming on auxiliary 1, and then I put angle, acro and air on aux 2, and I've set up my beeper for a lost model alarm on aux 3. I've also put the command set small underscore angle equals 180 in as well, so that if I get stuck in a tree I can sort of arm it to waggle it out. That's something new that I have been doing. I've also moved around the on-screen display as well because I wasn't happy with the positioning of things, and I also went in and added the RSSI coming through channel 9 as well on this receiver that I have used. So the rates were just stock Betaflight rates, which suggests that this is an older model than their leader because they put custom rates in that one. But I put my own rates in there anyways, which is 0.8 on the Super 8 and 1 on the RC rate. Something else that I had to do was change the channel map from AETR to TAER, but that is just because I am running S-Bus and FreeSky here. I've bound it to my Taranis, and that's what I'm going to be using to fly today. Okay, let's go for a takeoff with this one. Starting off in angle mode. Oh, I just love the colour scheme of this one. Right, let's check out the punch. Yep, nice. Pretty nice. Doesn't seem to be any vibrations. The motors squeal, but they aren't that loud. I would say on par with the AR Fun here. Flip into acro mode. No dramas. Just as I suspected, really. Yeah, it looks like another good one from Fullspeed. Got a little bit of a breeze here today, but no problem for this guy. So I have reduced the PIDs a little bit, changed them, and I'm not hearing any vibrations or flutters, which is good news. And no brownouts, no flips of death so far on the line of sight. It's really nimble, plenty of power. Not quite as much as the leader 120, I don't think, but I expected that. But I tell you what, it's not far off. It's not far off at all. Certainly got enough power to give you a bit of a shock. Yeah, look at that. Plenty of punch. Doesn't feel underpowered at all. I'm barely ever giving it full throttle in these maneuvers. And the power feels consistent. Doesn't feel like it's sagging at all. Yeah, I just love the colour scheme of these full speed models. The bright green props and then the reds. Love it. Very nippy indeed, this one. Righto. Let's come in for a landing. So we have another winner from Fullspeed here, I think. I really like this company. It's rare that I'll do a review of a model and the creators of that model reach out to me and try and improve their product. And that happened with the Leader 120. I was so impressed with it, but I was getting the flip of death. And I wanted to persevere with it because the guys there were encouraging me to do so. And I found that lifting up the digital idol fixed it. Same with this model. I don't think they scrimp on components either. I think the components are of a very good quality, and I really like the direction that they're moving in as well. So Fullspeed are actually working on a VTX that piggybacks onto the Runcam micros. So I think we're really close to getting a all-in-one CCD camera. Maybe Runcam will come out with their own version and we can have options for plugging it into an on-screen display or it having its own on-screen display built into it. I think that is the one thing that is lacking with these micros is camera quality. Now, it's by no means unusable. This camera is fine. In fact, I actually had to wait for the rain to stop and the sun had gone down at this point and I was still able to fly no problems. So yeah, it's just that when you fly with a Runcam micro now, you can really tell the difference in clarity. So yeah, I think that's going to be the next step with these micros, is getting CCD cameras into them, and I really look forward to that happening. Now, I got a really good tune out of this one. I was able to do all of the maneuvers that I like to do, so I will overlay my PIDs. If you have this model, you can check those out. You probably will need to adjust it though if you want to stick on the prop protectors. But yeah, another great micro from this company. I really like them. And I want to thank GearBest for allowing me to check out all of their models, because as soon as I got the Leader 120, I was like, right, I need to check out everything this company has made, because they are definitely standing out above the rest for me when it comes to how they are thinking about these micro quadcopters. And I just really like them. I think micros are the future as well, with, you know, all these proposed regulations and things. You know, they're really lightweight, but they perform really good. This one performs almost as good as their Leader 120. I think the Leader 120 just has a bit more performance, and it feels like it's a bit more floaty as well with the bigger props. This one, it tends to drop a little bit faster, but yeah, I can't really complain too much about this one when it comes to design, and that's a reason why I like this company. You'll see the RSSI information there on the side as well. I got a 3.5 minute flight time with this one, which isn't the longest of flight times, but not the shortest either. Definitely adequate. And it's about to cut out. I flew the battery to the death, so I'll put a link in the description if you wish to get one. And as always, thanks so much for watching. Please continue to subscribe. Cheers.